Here it is, guys, the Rick and Morty Season 7 tier list. I know everyone's been asking for it, the whole me, myself, and I, but, I thought it'd be a fun video, so here we go. This is how the tier list videos work. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. You got S, A, B, C, and D tier. Top tier is the best thing to ever grace your eye holes. Then, of course, A, B, and C is middle of the road. And then we got Naruto, aka Morty's Weird Space Son, which is what I'm going to use to determine the most dog water video, because if you guys know, that episode last season was, I don't even know what it was. I think it was last season or the year before that, but terrible episode. That's going to be our trash, bottom of the barrel tier right there. The season just ended a couple days ago, and we got all of our episodes here in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to go ahead and start off with episode 1, where Mr. Poopy Butthole was basically needed rehab. His whole life spiraled out of control, and after his wife divorced him, and he got fired from his job and all that stuff. So where are we going to put this guy? We'll start it off in the middle here, just so we can build a reference with the other ones. But yeah, other than that, it definitely wasn't the worst episode. I thought it was pretty funny. They take him out. They all, go to the bar. They go to fuck yous, which is pretty funny. Where it references one of those restaurants that just talk crap to you the whole time, and they really dig into Mr. Poopy Butthole, and they just ruin his whole day. So yeah, we're gonna leave that at B. All right, so we got episode 2 here. This episode here is the Jaricky episode. Pretty funny. Definitely top tier. I'm thinking at least an A. We'll throw it there for now. It's where Rick and Jerry swap minds. There's like a specific detail where they swap like minds but not brains or something crazy like that. So they got Rick in Jerry's body and Jerry in Rick's body. I really personally like it, and this is obviously going to be a more personal opinion type of list. That's kind of how all the tiers always work, the tier maker videos. But yeah, this one's hilarious. The A plot is Jaricky. B plot is more or less just like Morty getting like captured by this one guy over here. Then the plots kind of combine at the end, but it's pretty funny. I really like this episode. They end up becoming like, Jerry and Rick end up becoming like buddies, and they end up becoming just like a bunch of bros, and they start hanging out and doing a bunch of cool crap, and it's pretty hilarious. And then at the end, the whole thing is they don't want to like return to their bodies and hate each other, so they become something more, and which is Jaricky, and they basically like combine bodies, minds, and souls. And yeah, it's pretty hilarious. And then they do like a whole Crow Rick spoof where they expect Jaricky to like go off and have his own thing for like a freaking episode or two, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do. But the whole thing that led up to that was Rick shot himself instantly because he was in Jerry's dumb brain, and it was torture for him. So he shot himself, killed himself. The garage revived both of them because Jerry ended up killing himself with Rick's body, and their brain matter got like combined, so it was a bunch of like half Jerry's and half Rick's in the same bodies. And anyways, they basically got all the best parts of each other and became buddies. So yeah, hilarious episode. Really like it. There we go. Moving it up to the best thing to ever grace my eye holes. Episode 3. This one is Air Force Wong. Let's see, we'll throw it on B for now and talk about it. But basically, as you can see in the thumbnail here, it is Wong, his therapist, Rick's therapist, getting with the president, and that's the whole subplot basically. And the main plot is like, their relationship and how Rick feels about his, personal matters getting involved with the president and stuff. So. And then the other side of the plot is Rick's ex, Unity, tries to unify Earth. Yeah, basically it's kind of like another Unity episode where, it's kind of a washed episode. They basically take aspects from past episodes, so I'm not really digging it too much. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the C tier. It's not the worst, but like I said, it's kind of reused assets in a way. They already had the whole Unity episode, and it's basically the same exact thing, but add the weird plot of Wong being interested with the president. All right, so we got episode 4, the spaghetti episode. I don't know why they made this the whole face of season 7, but they were really pushing this whole episode. When I watched it, first opinions was it was all right. It's nothing crazy. There's some funny scenes for sure, but the whole plot of like their insides turning to spaghetti after suicide, I don't know, man. That's just kind of far fetched for me. Even though obviously it's Rick and Morty, I don't know, that it just doesn't make too much sense to me. So it kind of loses a little bit of value for me. I'm going to leave it in around the B or the C tier. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm gonna be nice and put it in B tier for now. I might drop it, but B tier is definitely as high as it's gonna go. All right, so we're going to go to episode 5. Now this is the lore episode. There's always a couple main lore episodes or main like continuation of the main story episodes, and they're always fire, of course. So right off the bat, we're dropping it to the A tier. So this is the episode where Rick Prime and our Rick basically get their business out of the way. Where he finally finds Rick Prime by consolidating and merging all of the realities so that his clones kind of all get sucked up into this one area, and he gets to pick out which is which with some tech that tells you if it's a match or not. So after that, it also involves a little bit of Evil Morty, which is what the cold open is. It has Evil Morty showing his life and his past too, which is really amazing as well. Yeah, it's really cool to get the lore. We love Evil Morty and the whole Rick Prime story itself. So I thought it was pretty sick. So after he, spoiler alert for this whole video, by the way, guys. So after he kills Rick Prime, he basically sits there and contemplates, how to go on with his whole life. It's a pretty deep episode. It's pretty funny. I think it's going to stay at A for now. Is it really better than the Jaricki episode? Honestly, I think just to give, Evil Morty and Rick Prime the respect, I think this is what it's going to have to look like. Yeah, I like that. All right. So episode 6, here we go. This is basically another interdimensional cable episode. I don't know if they're trying to do one of those every single season or not, but it's a good way to tell stories, I guess. It's a good way to get a bunch of crazy, wacky ideas out in the open. So with that being said, the episode was, I guess, pretty much a hit. For me personally, it wasn't the best. I probably liked some other interdimensional cable episodes more. Towards the end of this episode, it was more better, or just better overall. Excuse my grammar. The plot of this episode, Morty has all those Morty tickets that basically allows him to pick every 10th adventure. He has 50 of them that he apparently saved up, and Rick calls bullshit crap on that and basically calls in this all-seeing, all-knowing crystal geode guy who's voiced by Dan Harmon to basically recall what happened. And he basically shows Morty that he was counting all these dumb scenarios as an adventure when it shouldn't have been counted. Anyways, it devolves into this rock just showing random clips of their past and stuff that was 99% embarrassing, mostly embarrassing stuff. That was the whole gimmick. And they get tired of this rock super quickly, and they start talking crap on the rock. He kind of took offense, left, came back, bugged him some more. Long story short, they end up accidentally killing the geode rock, and they get taken to the rock's world and their court system. Do a whole court system thing where all the rocks start showing each other's memories, and it evolves into who's bad and where do they draw the line in terms of right and wrong and stuff like that. And it was pretty funny towards the end. They go to a pet cemetery and do a whole pet cemetery scene. They start burying cars to see if their gas will get refueled, or what is the lines of the whole pet cemetery rules. What if you bury it, what will happen in terms of inanimate objects or random stuff. So with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and keep this at a B tier for now. We'll see how that works out. But man, what is going to go into this Naruto tier, the Space Sun tier? And it's going to have to be one of these 2 episodes down here, I feel like. Because those ones are dog water, man. I don't understand. Maybe I just missed the whole joke, but looking back, when I want to rewatch an episode, it's not this, and it's definitely not this. especially like I don't know. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. All right, guys. Moving on to episode 7. We got the Quado episode. This thing's gonna go straight down to the trash can, the bottom of the barrel, the Rick and freaking Morty's Space Sun tier. Because this, I mean, I don't know, man. It missed the mark for me. It centers around Morty and Summer. They get a stat changer, like in a video game, to change their charisma, strength, and smartness, all that stuff. They changed that so they could better utilize themselves at a party to become popular. They end up fighting over it. Things go wrong. They fall into a pool, and the device merges them into what you see as a Quado, which is a little Morty guy saying, "Open your mind," in like Summer's stomach. And so, yeah, that's basically the whole episode. They go and find a whole social club full of other Quados, and there's this one Quado guy who apparently sells the Quados out of other people to give to the rich because apparently they're a high commodity or they're something valuable towards some people. And so, yeah, that's basically the end of the episode. They end up, obviously, they kill the villain Quado who's trying to sell Morty off. Dan Harmon liked it. I guess the joke is from just an older piece of media that I'd never seen before, so that's probably why it's a big miss for me. But anyways, moving on. You guys let me know in the comments if there's one particular episode that you just have the exact opposite agreement with me. You know, we're all going to have slight differences, but let me know what episode you guys thought I was crazy on to put. Like, should these two be switched or what? Alright, episode 8. This is another episode like the Air Force Wong episode. They're bringing back some old characters and old plots. They got Ice-T or Water T as we like to call him now. And, yeah, he comes back. I'm trying to remember why. I think that he needs help to, you know, kill the number cons, I think is what it's called. And he needs help from the math teacher, Mr. Goldenfold, because apparently that was his old math teacher. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of a Goldenfold episode for sure, you know. I mean, the Scary Terry one was hilarious. That's probably all I need of Mr. Goldenfold, though. Yeah, we're going to drop this episode down, at least to C tier. I don't know, man. It's just a dumb plot to me. I hate the whole iced tea, water tea joke. It's funny for a split second, but a whole episode revolving around it, yeah, it needs to live there if they're having a whole episode revolving around the iced tea freaking water tea joke. Yeah, what else about that episode? The one part I did like about it, he kind of went off. I think they actually got Ice-T to voice this episode. And, yeah, he went off with that little rap that he had at the end there. So, all right, guys, we're down to the last 2 episodes. This is how our tier list has come out so far. It's looking pretty good. So let's carry on to episode 9 and episode 10. Well, actually, before that, guys, let's see. We got a little bit of organizing we can do on the B tier. Let's organize the whole B tier. Do we think, let's see, the closest one here is going to be the best episode. So, in terms of, like, is this one better than this one? So, we're going to say the far left is the best episode, and then so on and so on. We got Mr. Poopy Butthole, the Spaghetti episode, and the Rock episode. What is the best episode out of those 3? Super tough to do it this way. I think we're gonna go something like this for sure. So I think that's the worst episode. That's almost a C tier episode for me. And now we got these 2. And I think I like the Mr. Poopy Butthole plot, but it was kind of really grounded. There wasn't nothing too crazy, so it wasn't too interesting to me. So bam. Talk myself into it. That's how that's going to look. I like that. Yep, that works for me. So we got episode 6, 1, and 4 in that order of my favorite from on the B tier. So, yep. And then we got these 2 down here. Let's go ahead and clean these up. Which one was worse? And I think we're going to leave it like that. I think episode 7 was better than episode 8. If you disagree, let me know. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the last 2 episodes. Episode 9, the whole infinite power. Rick trying to get some infinite power. he ends up trying to tap into Valhalla or a afterlife in general. But he does end up settling on Valhalla. Taps into that power to get infinite energy. And it's pretty hilarious. I like the whole Valhalla thing, and the B plot was the whole B plot was him fighting the Sasquatch, because the Sasquatch kills him. That's his elaborate scheme to die so that he can be revived later on. He dies on Viking soil so that he can get reborn in Valhalla. But yeah, they use Bigfoot to do that. So that's the B plot. They end up fighting the Pope at the end with a bunch of like other guys, and then they keep dying and going to Valhalla, and then getting sent back through just one of the machines he makes that like puts him back in a body with the infinite energy. But yeah, this episode's hilarious to me. I really like this episode. The whole Valhalla thing, him saying he's Odin and they need to not, mess with his stuff. Just the Bigfoot thing is pretty funny too. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this A tier for now. It might get changed. We don't know yet. We're going to move on to episode 10, all right? So this is episode 10, the finale. It was 30 minutes long, a little bit longer, obviously, since it was the finale. And I thought it was pretty funny. This whole thing revolves around them walking through hell, I believe, or some form of hell. Or it was a hell planet, some different planet. They meet some dude from Earth who's kind of like a Lucifer-looking character. And he's saying, hey, he has this crazy, scary place that they need to go check out on Earth. And they're like, what the heck? They got to go there anyway since, they're going home. So they take them to, of all places, a Denny's is where this guy takes them to. And, they're like, oh, no, we're scared of a grand slam from Denny's. And he's like, the waiter comes up and he's like, hey, are you guys here for the fear hole? It's in the bathroom. So they go to the fear hole. Just a random venom-looking hole in the bottom of the floor in a bathroom that apparently manifests your greatest fears. So I think Rick is like not really feeling it, but Morty's like, you know what? Let's go do it. Or it's vice versa. And so Morty jumps in. Rick jumps in after him. They start fighting their greatest fears, and it's a bunch of cool stuff and past, references from the older episodes. And long story short, it's pretty deep. It's pretty emotional episode as well, just like the first one, or not the first one, but episode 5 on the first tier. It's pretty crazy. They're trying to figure out what their fears are, because when they break their fears or get over it, they get released from the hole, because the hole is like some sort of special power, and it's kind of like it transported them to like a whole little dream world, and they can't get out unless they, figure out their fears. So they figured out like 10 fears. They keep thinking they're out, but it pulls them back in a way of like, if you guys have seen 1408, the horror movie by Stephen King, it basically tricks them into thinking they're out, but they're still in. So they do it like 4 or 5 times. Rick ends up seeing Diane and having a whole life in there with Diane. He's like taking serums to be younger because he gets super old, and Diane doesn't age because she's just a figment of the whole. And I think that is one of their fears. It's pretty deep and it gets pretty complicated, but long story short, Rick has a fear that maybe Diane doesn't love him, like the present him. And then it also plays on a part of, actually maybe it's Morty's fear, and the fear is that Rick will leave Morty in the dust if he ever, did find a way to bring back his wife. And the funny bit at the end, Morty says, you know what? I fear that if I jumped in a crazy hole, you wouldn't even go in after me. And that's the main fear, that they ended up, actually releasing them out of the hole. And Rick turned out to not even be down there. And Rick was a part of the hole. And then Morty gets released. And it shows Rick above the hole looking down at Morty like, hey, Morty, how was it? So that was Morty's biggest fear, is that he didn't even bother to jump in after him. Morty comes out and he's like, you know what? I shit my pants. That was the craziest thing in my life. I never want to do that again. Also, stuff like, hey, Rick, am I irreplaceable? He wants validation from Rick because of the traumatic experience he just went through. He's trying to convince Rick. He's like, nah, don't go in there. And Rick's like getting his interest piqued because of how shaken up Morty is. And long story short, pretty hilarious, pretty great episode. And this is where I got to put this episode, my guys. Not B, A, or the best thing to ever grace my eye holes. I think that's what we're doing. No, I don't want to be biased because it's not technically the last episode I watched, but it's the freshest episode. It's the last episode of the season. So I might think it's better than it actually is. But regardless, I really like that episode. So I'm going to put it in the top A tier. Now, the question is, let's organize the top 2 tiers here. Is episode 2 better than episode 9? Ooh, man, it's a tough one. It's very, very tough. Honestly, I don't think either way is wrong, to be honest. But I will probably say episode 9 is better. Barely, just barely. But that one is up for debate for sure. Now we're up to episode 5 and episode 10. Which one is better? These are 2 lore-based episodes, so that's probably why they're up here. And we got to figure out, which episode is the best episode of the whole season. 5 or 10? Oh, man, I'm not sure, bro. Why am I putting myself through this, man? I hate making decisions. You guys let me know. That's also another comment I want you guys to comment down below. What is the absolute best episode of the season so far? Or I guess it's the end of the season. So just, the best episode of the whole season. And for me, I think I'm going to have to go with the Fear Hole as the best episode of Rick and Morty Season 7. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just how I feel. Episode 5, extremely close as well. Then we got episode 9, episode 2, 6, 1, 4, Air Force Wong, and then these 2 abominations at the bottom here. And you know what? Air Force Wong, you're lucky you're not down there too, man, because that one was just as bad. I'm going to be honest. But this is how we like it. This is what we're going to keep. And this is the Rick and Morty Season 7 tier list. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment down below all of the questions I asked you guys. I really want to know, see what the general consensus is. And like, comment, and subscribe if you want to stick around and watch some more episodes of Rick and Morty, and we'll do some more reviews as well. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one.